I'm Julia Alexander, and this is Be Informed. We are back highlighting our Black History authors for the month of February. I have with me Miss Cassie Fuqua. Cassie is the author of My Past Has Passed, taken from 2 Corinthians 5 and 17. The fight to live, Cassie says. We're going to talk with Cassie and we're going to find out a little bit about her book. It is quite interesting. Her journey to where she's gotten right now has been phenomenal. And my hat goes off to you, Cassie, for sticking and fighting the battle and winning the battle. So first of all, let's talk to you about My Past Has Passed. Tell me a little bit about how you came up with that title.
Okay, so the title, My Past Has Passed, actually my goddaughter, Maisha, suggested that I use this title. This title is the title that I started my t-shirt business with. So My Past Has Passed is my testimony. It's my testimony of how God delivered me from being an alcoholic. It was one Sunday I was at church, and my pastor, Pastor Dion Hayes from One Vision Worship Center, he was preaching, and in his sermon that day, he just kept saying, we have to forgive ourselves.
Yes.
We have to forgive ourselves from, whatever it is. And my issue was alcohol. And I had to forgive myself from that because God, once we ask God to forgive us, He's already forgiven us. So we have to let it go.
Right.
So, and he just kept saying it. And I went to sleep that night and I woke up the next morning and God had given me to start my t-shirt business with My Past Has Passed.
Wow. So you're a true entrepreneur. Not only are you an author, but you have a t-shirt company as well, right?
Yes.
And so is the name of your t-shirt company My Past Has Passed? What's the name of your company?
The company's name is T-Shirts by Cassie.
Okay.
My Past Has Passed was just my first t-shirt.
Okay, all right.
And my testimony.
Okay, so and later on in the program, we're going to get to where you guys can order and go and view some of your merchandise, your t-shirts, and also where you can get this book as well.
Yes.
So let's talk about My Past Has Passed. I read the book and it was like I had to put it down, regroup, come back, put it down. But I like the part that really got me interested was when you talked about how you had to hide yourself amongst people because you felt that everyone knew what you were doing. And tell me about how that and how it felt.
When we're Christians, we stand out.
Yeah.
When you're involved in ministry and then you're involved in church. I'm a minister's wife.
Yeah.
I'm involved in the church, and so you stand out in front of everybody. So people look at you like you don't supposed to do anything wrong. You can't make any
like you're
mistake.
perfect, yeah.
Like you're perfect, and I wasn't living like that. So I was living one way in front of the church people, and I was living another way outside the church.
That must have been tormenting.
It was.
Tell me how that felt.
During the time that I was addicted to alcohol, it was tormenting.
Yes.
It was a lot I wore a lot of different hats.
Yes.
I put on a lot of different masks. I pretended to be so many things.
Yeah.
And it was hard.
And then I also, as I kept reading, your husband, how he was there through thick and thin, and he never left your side, and he was really one of your biggest support systems.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about that. Him being a minister,
Yes.
and it was a torment for him too, because he had to face the congregation and people that probably knew that you had. Everyone didn't know, but when you're hiding something, you feel like everyone knows, right? So tell me a little bit about the conversation or the support that your husband gave.
But when my husband and I, when we first got together, he was not saved. And it was as if the roles had been switched. So at the beginning, I was saved and I was praying for him to be saved. And now he's saved. He's a minister. We're both in church. We're both in ministry. And now I fell off. You know, so yes, it was hard for him, but I thank God that it was during the time that he was saved that he could cover me. Cover me. And pray for me over and over again.
That's phenomenal, because you were saved and then you were struggling all at the same time, and your husband was not saved, was not in the church, and you prayed for his strength in God. God gave him the strength to protect you. That is so awesome. That is so awesome. So go ahead, talk a little bit more about your book, Cassie.
So when I began to write the book, I thought when I was writing that it was going to be about my journey with cancer, my journey with breast cancer at the time. But as I'm writing, I had to ask myself, how did I get to the stage that I was in? How was I able to get through cancer? And that's where I came up with Fight to Live. That's where the bottom, you know, the subtitle of my book. And then I asked myself, when did I begin to be a fighter? You know, so then that's how the beginning of the book starts. It starts with the 5th grade little girl that was taken away from me, and I had to fight that night, and that instilled a fight in me. So in everything that I do in life, whether right, wrong, good or bad, I had to fight through it. And that's what brought you through the cancer. That's what brought you through the addiction. You had to fight. You knew that you had a fight in you at that time. And we're going to talk a little bit about your cancer. You really explain in detail what type of cancer you had, really so that the layman man can really understand. There are so many different types of cancer. So tell them a little bit about the type of cancer that you had. Okay, so I started off with Dcis, breast cancer. And when I was diagnosed with Dcis, breast cancer, it was breathtaking, because so many other times in my life I've had scares to where, you know, you go, you take the mammogram, they find a lump. You go, I took a mammogram, there was 3 lumps. But back then, you know, I felt as though I was just so anointed. You know, we prayed, we prayed, different ministries I was in, you know, we prayed, and I can remember the lumps rolling out of my breast. And that was my left breast. So this time, my mammogram showed that I had grains of gravel, like sand, so they were so small. So that's why I encourage people to go get a mammogram, because it's not always going to be a lump. It's not always going to be a tumor or something that you can feel. My cancer was found through my mammogram. So I believe that when they found it, I was like, oh, this is nothing. You know, I'm gonna be healed from it. You know, I won't have to go through all of that. But I did. You did. and what point? I mean, I know there had to have been a point, and I think I read it in the book, where you were really afraid, and you were trying to hold on, and you were doubting. You know, not God, but just doubting the system and everything that keeps you living. And once again, I believe that you said your husband stepped in. Well, I think the part that you're referring to is the 3.5 months of me crying. I wasn't crying that I was afraid that I would die or that God was not going to heal me. I was crying because my husband didn't want me to have a bilateral mastectomy. So that's where the frustration, the tears, the stress of it all, every day for 3.5 months. And then you do mention, you know, it's like you're trying to be obedient to your husband as a wife should. And then you're caught between decisions, and I know I felt like I had just given my life back to God. I had just given my relationship and my marriage back to my husband. Because so many times we could have been separated through all the things that I was doing.
Right.
And we had just gotten back together.
Right.
Things are looking so much better for us, you know.
Well, isn't that when Satan attacked you, though?
Yeah, things are just going good for us, and now breast cancer.
Yes.
You know, so, and I felt as though I had to have his okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he didn't want me to do it.
But eventually, he did. Eventually, in the book, he did.
Yes.
He did let you know that he was okay with it and he would stand by you. So how did you feel at that moment?
I was relieved.
Yes,
so I was up. It was early in the morning, like 3-something in the morning. I was upstairs praying, crying out to God, pouring out my heart to God. And then my husband came and he, you know, got me off the floor and he asked me, "What is it that you want to do?" And I told him, I want a chance to live. So, and my choice was to have a bilateral mastectomy, and he gave me his blessing.
Absolutely.
And it was like a burden.
Well,
like,
thank you, Jesus. That was half your battle right there. That was really half your battle. And then you spoke a little bit about your family and their support. Let's talk about that.
Yes, my family and my friends, I had a great support system. My mom, my sister, my girlfriends, and I encourage people to have a great support system because I feel like I know I wouldn't have made it without my prayer team. You know, I'm able to talk to them every day, tell them how I really feel, and, you know, without any mask, without any pretending, tell them, you know, what was going on.
Yeah, no judging, no, you should do this, you know. And it's awesome to be able to just release what you're feeling. So often, a lot of times people vent and they're just releasing something, and not that they're talking about anyone or for you to go back and tell anyone. It's just that I need to get this off my chest. And I'm like that too. I mean, I vent a lot just to get it off my chest. And then a lot, and also when you talk about it, then people will, you know, sometimes give you a different way of looking at it because the way that you're thinking is always not right or correct. And so you need to know how to observe it in 3D, I call it, in 3D. So this book is awesome. So Cassie, tell them, where can they get your book from?
My book can be purchased from my website. It's www.cassiefuqua.com.
Okay, www.cassiefuqua.com. That will show on the scroll at the bottom of the television screen. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about those t-shirts. So tell me, what inspired you to start doing t-shirts as well?
So I've always wanted to make t-shirts. I always admired my cousin. She made t-shirts and she was just so creative, and I would watch her and I always wanted to do it. You know, just growing up, and you know, so many times things that we want to do, we let it lay to the wayside because we're doing everything for everybody else. Right. So you know, I never thought about it anymore until like that night. You know, when the Holy Spirit was just like, my past is past, you know, start with your t-shirt business, you know. And I would come up with things to say and things to put on t-shirts, but I would call somebody and tell them what I wanted and they'll make it, you know. But one of my girlfriends was like, you can make your own t-shirt, you know. And then one of the ministers from my church said, you know, cut out the middleman and you start making them yourself.
Absolutely, and you did. And on your t-shirts, what do you have on there? You have scripture sayings, or if anyone writes something, like if I write.
At the beginning of my business, I was only doing Christian things. So if somebody say something to me, I'll put a verse to it, a Bible verse to it. But so many times we're praying the Jabez prayer, God enlarge my territory, you know. So I had to open it up to do other things. You know, so I am open to do other things. People can, you know, get customized t-shirts, and now I do not only just t-shirts, I can do hoodies, canvases, bags.
No kidding. Okay. And these are still just saying, do you do pictures as well?
Or? I can now do pictures.
You can now do pictures. Okay. So, well, you know what? Let's tell them where they can go and view some of your work.
My work can be found on my Facebook business page, which is T-Shirts by Cassie.
Okay, Facebook business page, T-Shirts by Cassie. Okay, and so once again, Cassie, tell them where they can pick up a copy of this book.
My book can be purchased on my website, www.CassieFuqua.com.
Okay, so now in writing this book, tell me about some of the people that helped you put this book together.
Okay, so Natalie Fleming, she was my mentor in producing the book, getting the book out. She encouraged me and pushed me to get the book, published.
Right.
She connected me to K-Rose Publishing Company, Pastor Linda Jernigan, and Pastor Linda was phenomenal. She let me keep my voice. She let me be able to, write how I sound. And that was one of the main things that I really appreciated about her. Plus, she's a God-fearing woman, so she always prayed over me. Like when the anxiety was high, she's like, okay, let's pray.
Okay.
So Pastor Linda, she was very great.
And is she from here, Pastor Linda? Is she?
No,
Okay.
no, she's not. She's with K-Rose Publishing Company. So if you guys want to write a book, you can contact KRosePublishing.com to publish your book.
Okay, and how do you spell that, K-Rose?
K-A-I-R-O-S.
Okay.
Publish.com.
Okay.
They are phenomenal. Wayne McNair, he's from here, from Joliet. He's great. He took my photos. At the time, it was, when we did my photo shoot, it was my Victory Over Cancer photo shoot. But my book was coming out, so we used it. So that's that pretty lady on the picture. Yeah. She was very pretty.
Absolutely. Wayne McNair does a fantastic job.
Yes.
He is phenomenal with his work. He's grown a lot. He's grown a lot. And so
he is. And my best friend, she, got my outfit together, made me look cute.
Okay.
And then my girlfriend, Ina Williams, I have to say thank you to her husband for allowing her, because we stayed up late, early mornings, late nights, getting this book together. So I would tell her, my ideas, and she would help me, and we worked together. And then K-Rose Publishing Company, they, did the ending of the, of the book.
Well, people, I noticed, dedicate their books to someone. Who did you dedicate yours to?
A few people.
Okay.
A few people. Because so many people have played such a, big impact in my life. So I started off with my mom and my dad, my husband. I think he might be first in the book, because they, played a big role in my life. My husband and my mom and so many people pray me back. Pray me back. So I'm thankful for a supportive husband and my mom being there for me. And then I also put in memory of so many people that I lost that didn't get to see the book, come out. My spiritual mother, Genevieve Brown, we talked about it so many times, writing a book, and then I lost some people in my family from cancer, so I talk about them in the book. And then Mama Fleming's, that's my, she can pray, she can pray, she can pray. And I was underneath that. I was up underneath that foundation of prayer. So I also mentioned Mother Fleming's in my book also. All
right. Okay. So let's go back in your book a little bit. Let's go back and talk about, I read in the book this 5th grader. Let's go back and tell my listening audience what that 5th grader, where did that 5th grader get her strength from?
Well, one night, a man came into my house, came into my bedroom, and he took the 5th grade little girl from me. So as I was writing the book, when I started, it was talking about my journey with breast cancer. But as I was writing the book, it came to me, where did I get my strength from? And I believe that 5th grade little girl being taken from me is when I knew that I had to fight. And I fought, I believe, from that night on.
Well, and then in speaking with you, you were not only fighting for your life, you were also fighting for what you thought the life was your little sister because of what that person said to you.
Right.
Can you share that with my audience?
Right. He threatened me and told me if I ever told anybody that he would hurt my sister, You know, at that time we shared in the same bed together, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't want him to touch her. I didn't want him to do anything to her. And I had to protect her.
Right.
You know, my mama always told me anyway, I was, you know, older, so I had to protect my baby brother and my baby sister. So that's all I knew. Yeah, so I didn't want him to do anything to her. And then he not only, that was the first time. He came back a second time to threaten me again. When he came back the second time, he didn't do anything to me, but just him coming, I was terrified. So I grew up afraid, you know, so.
Yeah, and the fear. And let's talk about the fear. Well, I'm glad that you put that out there, because what I think you all need to know is that if anyone comes for any reason and they threaten you like that, still don't be afraid to tell. Cassie was afraid to tell, but she's not afraid to tell now. But at that time, I understand you were maybe 11 years old, 5th grade, and I understand that. But this is for those who are 10, 11 years old and in the 5th grade. You don't have to go through that. Tell them that, Cassie.
Yeah, I just encourage people now, now that I know as a child, if anything happens to you that should not have happened to you, to tell your parents. If you can't talk to them, tell a teacher, tell a friend, tell somebody, so that somebody will know what's going on.
Absolutely, always tell someone. Okay, so let's go in and talk about the strength that you drew from that, along with your breast cancer. First of all, you had several types of cancer.
Yes.
So let's start with your breast cancer.
Okay, I'm gonna start with myasthenia gravis.
Right, and I keep thinking that's cancer, but it isn't cancer.
No.
Okay.
So I'm gonna start with myasthenia gravis. It's a rare autoimmune disease that affects my nerves and my muscles.
Okay.
It started for me with my left eye. My left eye was drooping.
Okay.
And as the days went on, I began to get weak in my body. To where if I lift my hands, lift my arms, they would just fall. I could be walking and I can fall. I can have a glass in my hand and I would just drop it. And they didn't know, doctors did not know what was wrong with me. And so many people will not be diagnosed because they don't know what it is. More people know what it is now compared to what they did in
It was a very rare disease.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
So, and I was a personal shopper at that time, so I would, go get people's groceries and stuff. So I had to give that position up because I was too weak to do it. So that was 2008, and I went through all of that. It had gotten to the point where I couldn't walk. I could be talking and I'll choke. I could be eating and I'll choke. So wherever there's muscles at, myasthenia gravis would affect that. And the biggest thing that flares up myasthenia gravis is stress.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then I got Dcis breast cancer. I really think I'm coming up on my anniversary.
Oh, really?
I really think I'm coming up on my anniversary. So, yep, I got Dcis breast cancer, and so I encourage people to go and get a mammogram because the type of cancer that they found, had I not did my normal mammogram, it would not have been found. So on just a regular mammograms, they found it, and it was like, we'll watch you for 6 months. So I had to go back.
Okay.
And then this time it was a special kind of mammogram. And normally when you do your mammograms, they tell you your doctor will get the results.
Right.
This time they told me to have a seat.
Okay.
So I had a seat, and the radiologist came in, and he believed that it was cancer, and he wanted me to make my appointment for the biopsy that day while I was sitting there.
Wow.
I can remember just crying.
Like,
this cannot be happening. So I sat there and I cried, and then I can remember hearing God just telling me that it is well, it's going to be okay, So I was able to catch my breath, move on with that. And then after the Dcis breast cancer, 6 months later, I had thyroid cancer.
Whoa. and where was the thyroid? Neck or any particular place?
well, for me, my thyroid cancer was here, so I'm cut from here to here. Yeah.
Really, and you can't tell. Whoever did your surgery did an awesome job.
Yeah, God has been amazing.
I know.
God has been amazing.
Well, that's who did your surgery. I do not see a scar, ladies and gentlemen. I do not see a scar anywhere.
Yeah, God has been amazing.
Yeah,
to
awesome.
me. Yeah.
So, are you cancer free? That's what I want to know.
I am.
Yeah, hallelujah.
To God be the glory.
To God
I am.
be the glory. To God
Yes,
be the
I
glory.
am.
You are cancer free.
I am.
And that's so awesome. So look, let's talk a little bit about your t-shirt. Your t-shirts by Cassie. Cassie's an entrepreneur, a survivor, an entrepreneur, a spiritual woman, a strong believer, a strong willed woman, and she's a fighter. And so we're going to talk a little bit about your t-shirts. You happen to be wearing one of your t-shirts, so talk a little bit about that. I see it has the cancer ribbon on it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, so this is my new design. This goes with my book. I had my cousin Rhonda Campbell. She's amazing. I told her, you know, what I wanted, and she created this design for me. So the cancer ribbon, it has all 3 of the diseases that I once had. Myasthenia gravis, Dcis, breast cancer, and thyroid cancer.
Wow.
So if you go on my website, www.cassiefuqua.com, you can order a shirt like this, or you also can order it where the ribbon has the colors. So I have the pink for breast cancer, I have purple for thyroid cancer, and teal for myasthenia gravis.
Wow. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the support of your husband. Now, you know, in the book, when you were going through trying to be obedient to your husband, because you had just regained your relationship with God, and you gave your life back to God and to your husband, and you wanted to have the mastectomy, is it? And your husband didn't want you to. And let's talk about the stress that put on you, and then the glory at the end. Okay.
Yes. So I think for me that was the hardest part of the whole journey for me. The longest 3.5 months ever in my life. It was just a mental struggle because, like you said, we had just gotten back together, you know, with God and with each other, and things in our lives was picking up and fine, and now here's cancer. And I know now that he was afraid of losing me to death of cancer, so that's why he didn't want me to have the surgery. But for those 3 months, I cried out and I cried out, God, just change his mind. So I can remember one night, which was early morning, 3-something in the morning, I'm upstairs on my knees praying, just crying out to God. And I can remember him, my husband, coming to me and asking me, what is it that I want to do? He got me off the floor and asked me what I want to do. And I said I wanted a chance to live. So for me, to have a bilateral mastectomy was my chance of living. And that night he said, okay. And then I could feel the weight just lifted off of me. And now it was okay. It was okay. I can go through this journey knowing that he was okay.
Yes, you got the confirmation of God. You got the confirmation of your husband. And you were already ready. So, I mean, what more can you ask for? You know? And for him to be supportive of you. He heard your cry. He, you know, and I'm sure that was as tormenting for him.
Right.
You know,
as it was when a person is sick, you're not just affected. I wasn't the only one affected. My husband, my children, people that love me and care about me, everybody that took this journey with me, it was affecting everybody.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And but the one thing about it, Cassie, as you stated before, our final decision, no one can make that for us.
Right. I say that in my book. I just I wanted somebody. I wanted my girlfriend, my mama, somebody. Just tell me what to do. What should I do? But at the end, it's your body, and nobody should be able to tell you what to do because you got to live with it. I have to look at myself every day, you know? So, it had to be my choice.
Were you, let me ask you this, at the point where you wanted them to tell you what to do, were you angry that they didn't tell you what to do? I mean, well, you know, we can, angry, you know. You should have did that.
I don't think I was angry, but I was like, dang, can somebody just tell me what to do?
Or you don't care. Yeah.
I just like, can somebody just tell? And I never voiced it to them. I never said, will you tell me?
Right.
But I thought to myself, like, you know, can somebody just tell me what to do? And I do it. You know,
right.
No.
Right, because you're all in my business trying to tell me other things. No, I'm just and I think when we have hard decisions like that we do want to hear from someone. And I know there's times when I wanted my mother to tell me what to do and what direction to go in, and she wouldn't do it, and I got angry with her. But I realized later that she knew that there are some decisions that I have to make on my own. Right. And then I you know, you don't want to come back and say, well, I wouldn't have done it had you not said, you know. So I mean, there are many positions, but then that was strictly between you and your God, and you had a good enough relationship with God that I know that they probably knew that. You know, so in going forward, what do you look forward to in going forward? God has healed you, has delivered you. You know, you are now trying to share what God has done through your book, through your T-shirts. So what's your desire now?
My desire is to encourage people, to let them know first that no matter what you've done, God is a forgiving God. And once you ask God to forgive you and you let it go, and you first have to forgive yourself. So that's where my past came from. So many times I'm sure God had delivered me, but because I was holding on to the guilt of sin, I held on to it and I stayed in it probably longer than I needed to or should have, right? So I tried to let people know that no matter what you've done, God is a forgiving God, and you can be forgiven. I use 2 Corinthians 5:17 because it says, if any man be in Christ, old things are passed away, and behold, all things have become new. Right? So when we let that go, we can move forward. And once I let that go, that's where another one of my shirts came from. Freedom looks good on me.
Oh yeah,
it looks good on me. Not to brag on myself, but to brag on God, because He's given me a story. He's everything I went through. I'm a miracle. I'm a survivor because God brought me through it.
Absolutely.
And I didn't go through none of that for myself. It's for me to tell somebody so that somebody will know that God is real. He's a deliverer, He's a healer, and He can do it for them too.
And I always believe that God doesn't give you gifts for you to hold on to. He gives you gifts. Well, actually, it's tools, because a gift is a tool for you to use it for someone else. It's to fix them or fix their lives. God will do the rest. You know? And so this book is phenomenal, you guys, and this lady is phenomenal. I mean, I can just listen to her story forever and ever and ever. But let's go back to the part where you were talking about how you were hiding yourself, you know, from who you really were, with your husband being a minister. Well, first of all, let's go back to where your husband was not saved, and you were saved, and you was praying that he would become saved. And he did. And you fell out. Go ahead.
So at the beginning of my marriage, my husband was not saved. And you know, like you said, I prayed for him to be saved, and now God has saved him, you know. And then as time go on, then I fell off. And then I become a functional alcoholic. I'm just going on with life, hiding, pretending, wearing masks, like everything's okay. Where I talk about it in my book that you can get on my website. So not to go into all the details of it, but I was living a whole separate life.
That's right. That's right. We're going to touch on some very important points that she's not going to go into detail with, because we want you to purchase this book. Okay, and so let's talk about a little bit of the faces that you had to put on in church. Just a little bit.
Just pretending like everything was okay. You know how somebody would say, "Hey, how you doing? I'm blessed and highly favored." When in reality, I was tore on the inside, seeking, just wishing that I could just come out of it and stay out of it. But I would go to church one way and leave the same way because I was just ready for church to be over.
Well, tell me, did anyone in church ever pick up on that? Anyone?
No.
Never.
No.
You're good.
No. And this was at my old church.
Yeah.
I do remember actually, let me take that back. I do remember actually one Sunday, my mom had went to church with us, visiting. We were at our old church and she was sitting next to me and she was like, do you smell that? I was like, no. And then she was like, you are reeking with alcohol.
Wow.
So, and from that day I was like, oh, I won't be drinking on Saturday anymore. I'll wait till after church.
Right.
So
Right.
My mama did say something to me.
Yeah.
I can remember her saying something to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
But no one ever picked up on really the bondage that you were in or the depressions or anything like that at that point?
No.
And that's what I mean when I say you were
If they did, nobody never said anything to me about it.
Right.
And so even some of the people from my old church have gotten the book so far.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten phone calls saying, I did not know.
Yeah. Well, sometimes we have to hide things really, really good, and
God covered me.
Yeah, He covered you very, very well. So listen, Cassie, they're really interested in this book because you've given them bits and pieces of things, and they want to know the rest. So tell them where they can go get this book and get the rest.
You can get my new book, My Past is Past, Fight to Live, from my website, www.CassieFuqua.com.
And where can they go and get your t-shirts?
You can contact me on Facebook. I have a Facebook business page, which is T-Shirts by Cassie.
Okay, Cassie, I want you to tell every young person, first of all, I want you to tell men how important it is to get checked out, because they also get breast cancer and prostate cancer, and how important it is. And then I want you to close out by telling the young women, young girls, to don't be afraid to talk.
Yes, I encourage men as well to make sure you are going to the doctor.
Yes.
I think men go once a year for prostate and your yearly physicals. It's a good thing to go to the doctor.
Yes, it is.
I encourage young people, young children, if anybody is taking advantage of you, if they're misusing you, to tell somebody. And it could be, you could be afraid, but find that person that you trust enough so that somebody will know to get you some help.
Absolutely, and I like the fact that you said young children, because this just doesn't happen to young girls, it happens to young boys as well. And once again, we cannot reiterate enough how you should tell. Find someone to tell. Cry it out, act it out, scream it out, but just get it out so that you can get help. Okay, so Ms. Cassie, is there anything else that you'd like for my listening audience to know about Cassie, your past has passed, or the fight to live?
I just encourage people to first pray and activate your faith, because I know I would not have made it through anything that I have faced in life without my foundation, and my foundation is God. And my faith is in God, and I find strength in God. I want to encourage people to know that God is real and He's there to help you through whatever your struggles is, and it's okay not to be okay.
Right, I like that saying.
It's okay not to be okay. Through my surgeon sending me to see a counselor and a nutritionist because I had to lose weight, that's what I went there for. But God set it up because I needed to go to counseling. At the time I didn't believe in counseling because I was taught that we don't do that.
Absolutely. Right.
So I want you to know as an audience that it's okay to go get counseling.
Right.
Godly counsel.
Right.
We need to talk. We need to release it, because all those things was bottled up. Stress led to so many sicknesses in my body throughout my life. So I know now that it was, stress. So I think that people need to know that it's okay.
It's okay
to go get counsel. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay to let people know that you still can be saved.
Yes.
We're going to mess up. We're not perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when we talk about the many hats that I wore, the many masks that I wore, it's because I felt like I had to be perfect.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely, yeah.
And that's because of what people portray it to be, but it's not like that. You can still be saved. You're going to mess up. God is a forgiving God.
Right. And so Cassie, she's right. And her book is once again phenomenal. Her book once again is My Past Has Passed. 2 Corinthians 5:17, and The Fight to Live. That title and subtitle is just awesome, and it is by Cassie Fuqua. Go on her Facebook page, go on her web page, order you a copy of this book, and let Cassie know. When you go on there, you order your copy, you get the book. Hit her up on these pages and let her know what you thought of her book. You may even be able to ask her some questions on her Facebook page in the message box. Whatever, she will respond to them. And I know that you're open to do workshops and seminars and all that stuff. So that would be awesome if you would, do a workshop or a seminar.
I'm available.
Okay. So once again, I know that we're going to have plenty of those coming up when COVID is over with and we're able to get back out. There are many organizations that will be conducting different types of workshops, and this would be an awesome workshop for you guys to conduct with Miss Cassie Fuqua. So once again, go to her Facebook page, Cassie Fuqua.
Yes.
Go to her Facebook page. You can message her in the Facebook page. You don't have to be a friend, but she will still get your message. And then you guys may connect and be friends, and then you move forward with your workshop. So Cassie, once again, thank you. I just can't speak highly enough of this book and how I think this book is going to save a lot of people. Not just save their lives, but save their mental being and save them, and as well as save their lives, because now I'm hoping that people will say, well, I better get a mammogram. I know I dodge them. I know I do dodge. You have to stay on top of getting a mammogram. You have to stay on top of doing a self-check. You have to stay on top of knowing your body. So our body tells us, and we just keep going, we ignore it. We
do not ignore the signals, you guys.
Absolutely, we do ignore it. And so, once again, this book is phenomenal. Once again, let's talk about where you got My Past Is Past. If I'm not mistaken, your pastor preached that. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yes, my pastor, Dion Hayes, from One Vision Worship Center. That's my new church that I go to now. And one Sunday, in his sermon, he just kept saying, my past has passed, my past has passed. And I went, when I came to One Vision, I was a mess. I was a mess. And being a mess, I can remember before I say about my pastor, First Lady, we were at our women's ministry, and First Lady had laid her hands on my head and prayed for me and asked God to change my mind. When God changed my mind, that's when things began to change for me. So in his sermon that Sunday, he kept saying, my past has passed. I went to bed that night and I woke up that morning and God had given me that would be my t-shirt. So when I asked my pastor for his, if I can use my past is past on the t-shirt, he gave me his blessing. And from there, my business started. So that's where I came up with My Past Is Past, and it has stuck with me since then.
and what did that mean to you? Because it has stuck with you since then. It's very powerful in your mind and in your life. So tell me, what power did it give?
So at that time, that's when I was the functional alcoholic.
Right.
That Sunday. So what I did in my past, that's in my past. Now with my the journey with cancer, I had it. God healed me. cancer-free. It's in my past, but it's for me to tell somebody else so that somebody else can be delivered, healed, and set free.
Absolutely, and it's still in your past. Okay, and so we want to make it in you all's past too. Whatever you're going through, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, your past too can pass. Just hold on to Jesus and know that He has you. He has you. His words say He will not leave you nor forsake you.
Right.
And He doesn't. I know that sometimes it feels like He does. Sometimes you feel like you're alone. But as I was talking with Cassie earlier, hindsight is 20/20. We can always see what God has done after we've gone through the storm, but we can't see it while we're going through the storm. So know that you know that you know that you know that God is there for you. So once again, Cassie, thank you so very much. And this book, once again, is phenomenal. And I pray your strength in delivering this message to the world. And I pray your strength in your t-shirt business and going forth with God's word and healing the people of the land.
Thank you.
Okay, God
Thank you,
bless
and
you.
thank you for having me.
Okay.
Before we go, I want to show you my book.
Okay.
If you order this book this week, as you see this broadcast, the book will be on sale for the rest of the Black History Month. So I'm going to promote the book, and the price will be $12.99.
Okay, $12.99 for the rest of
for the rest of Black History Month. It'll be $12.99, and you can get it on my website, www.CassieFuqua.com.
www.CassieFuqua.com. It's on sale for the month of February, for the remaining of the month of February, which is Black History Month. So it would be an awesome book to get. A Black History book for a Black History Month from a Black History woman. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.